Hey everybody, Brandon Welch with Frank and Maven coming to you with Corona Communication. What should we do when we're marketing in the middle of madness? So this is obviously going to be centered around what to do with the virus right now in business and marketing. And this is my team from Springfield, Missouri. We're a team of 15 marketers and strategists helping companies all over the United States. But this, we believe, applies to more than just what to do right now. This is every time we have an up or a down in business. Things are cyclical. So we have 8 principles for you today to remember, and along with some specific tactics you can implement over the next weeks when maybe business isn't going as normal. So the first one is to zag. Now, what does it mean to zag? We're talking about zigzag, of course, and everybody else, most people, kind of have a herd mentality when things like this happen. And because the media says it's true, and because people want to believe that things are crazy, they are a little crazy. And that is true. There's definitely a time to be reactive and to do what's safe. But while you're doing this, we're going to urge that you take the opportunity and do what Dina Levy reminded us of, and to use this limitation, use this time of stress and this time of maybe out of our comfort zone to springboard some new creative ways to do business. So it's in times like the economic downturn in 2008 that we all remember. It's in times like seasonal trends being off, when weather throws off our business, when a competitor throws off our business. That limitation actually forces some really good things. And it's sort of a universal truth. It's a life thing, that what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And I'm encouraging you to embrace letting this make you stronger, because it's going to kind of happen no matter what, and we're just going to have to adapt and find some new ways to do business. So I'm talking about innovation. I'm talking about a new way to deliver your product or service, especially if you're a business that relies or has relied on face-to-face communication. Technology has never been more powerful and more available to us to do different things. And here's some of the specific things we're recommending. Delivery, if you have a product that's a tangible, maybe talk about some ways to deliver that in a way you haven't before that doesn't require an in-store experience. Closely related, curbside pickup. For those that are fear of crowds, offer some experience or from our door to your car door side of things. Teaching. While we're in this downtime, especially those of us that are in the expert category, there's a time to still show up and add value, even though it may or may not be something that has a dollar figure tied to it. We're going to talk about this over and over, but people are inside. They're maybe sort of imprisoned to their homes, hopefully for only a few weeks, but that's your opportunity to show your expertise, because frankly, everybody has a little more leisure time on their hands. Video consultations. We're in the middle of coaching several clients on how to take their face-to-face experience and make that a one-on-one video consultation that gets them to the same result. Maybe it's a time to do a discount. Maybe you'll have some fear of people spending money, but you can really quickly meet them by reminding them why it's the best time to buy, and say, hey, you know what? You've got bills to pay, we got bills to pay. We know there's a little bit of fear out there, but we're willing to do XYZ discount if you buy now instead of in 6 weeks from now. So these are really opportunities to uncover ways that people maybe already wanted to do business with you, or maybe made you a more valuable company. And it's just, instead of going off in the corner and tucking our tail, we're going to take this time to embrace that instead of be scared of it. We're going to zag. Here's another way. So you don't have to come out and just like try to tell people what they already know is true. We all know this thing's coming. We all know it's going to provide some sort of challenge for all of us to overcome. But fact is, people are going to be at home, and maybe you can meet them at that instead of trying to combat it and say, hey, if you buy now from us, or if you take an online video appointment from us, we're going to give you a month's worth of Disney Plus subscription. Or we're going to give you a month of HelloFresh, which is those people that send the boxes of fresh ingredients right to your door. You can cook at home. Maybe you're a restaurant. You can partner with Uber Eats and say, we're going to give you a $100 gift certificate to Uber Eats, or $50 to Uber Eats, or DoorDash or Grubhub or some of those others. But we're talking about this innovation. We're talking about using this as the reason to start doing business a little differently. The second is stealing media market share. So immediately what happens when something like this comes around, whether it's an economic downturn, uncertainty in the market, people exacerbate this fear and say, hey, we got to cancel our media. We're not going to spend money right now. And it's like, if you're a transactional company that relies on saying something and then having an immediate reaction, that's how you measure your marketing, that could be a thing. Although I would still challenge you in that. There are people that have money they were going to spend this week, and instead of spending it this week, they're going to spend it 5 weeks from now or 8 weeks from now. And what you have to ask is, what are they doing instead? We know everybody's panicking, they're watching their pennies, but they're also bored at home. That's what they're doing instead. They're being forced to be at home. They don't want to be at home. They'd rather things be normal. They'd rather be being your customer right now. Just don't let them lose sight of that, because we're estimating 20 to 30% increase in rating points, and people just by the numbers alone, people that aren't going to be at work. They're at home doing something, and they're probably watching daytime television in numbers that they wouldn't normally be watching, and primetime television. So while they're doing this, you can bet that there are going to be some reactive advertisers, and they're going to pause or cancel their spends. So media companies will not only be more incentivized to work with you and maybe get better deals during this time, the audiences are going to be so much bigger. And so you'll at least buy these audiences at the same rate they were offered a few weeks ago. You might be able to get more, but we're talking about HUT and PUT levels, people using household using television and people using televisions. That's a rating point term, and everything's indicating that those are going to be higher and way higher than they are normally this time of year. Inventory for media is priced sort of on an annual and seasonal basis. And the other thing you have to think about is, while these sports audiences aren't going to be captivating a lot of the television audience, some of the regular everyday programming is. I'm talking about your news programs. I'm talking about your syndicated programs. I'm talking about primetime specials. You're getting a lot of audience here, and it's a time to buy it. So steal that market share. While all of your competitors are off waiting to see what's going to happen, you're betting based on human history and based on everything we know about how the way humans behave, that someday, and not too far in the future, they're going to need you again. And as long as it's not a direct threat to your cash flow, as long as it's not going to make you go bankrupt, invest. Just like it's a great time to buy some stocks at a discount right now, you can buy the mental real estate of the people that you want to influence. So, important thing to remember is, while everybody's cooped up, they're still imagining about how they're going to spend their lives and their money out of what we get out of after they get out of what we call the drywall prison cell, which is their house. So get a heck of a deal on traditional and steal that market share. Third, make online calls to action. So because most of us, or a lot of us, have the luxury of doing business face-to-face, that's my business, frankly, we're used to doing that. We don't ever have too much reason to provide a service outside of that. Now, face-to-face is sort of not an option for some people. And so use that to innovate online ways to do business with you. I talked about earlier, we're going to see other countries are already seeing a 30% surge in internet usage while this thing is going on. It's probably going to happen here. So meet them where they are. And the fact is, a lot of people, a lot of customers preferred to do business with you this way anyway. It's just you didn't have to do it this way before. So now you kind of do. I'm talking about putting pricing information online, what previously would have taken you getting together with them and giving them a quote or something. I'm not saying give it to everybody for free, but the person who really wants to do business, and they give you their name and their phone number and their email and a way to reach out to them in the future, give them a pricing guide, or give them an idea about what that's going to cost. We have some customers doing an instant price calculator. Online forms, instead of just having the standard drab old contact us, let's give them some action. The pickup request or the delivery request form, something that solidifies an action that doesn't require them coming in your store and communicating that. Online chat is a great thing to install if you've never had that. Video presentations, we're coaching a number of clients about how to combat the person canceling the appointment and saying, you know what, do you have FaceTime? Or would you be willing to get this information now so you can consider it over the next few weeks while we're all waiting? Do that video presentation now. You're kind of anchoring the opportunity to show back up as soon as in their mind this thing is blowing over. So some sort of online call to action. Don't make your website just informational at this point. Treat it more like an order form or a way to start steps 1, 2, 3 of your process. Of course, some of you are going to have a face-to-face or be in the home or have a tangible meeting at some point. But until then, you don't have to run idle. 4, that leads me to this: get good at video. So we were just talking about how we're so comfortable doing business face-to-face. If I wasn't doing this today, I would be sitting in front of 3 or 4 of our clients. I may have a direct phone call, but I've never been forced to in my business be just super awesome at video. Maybe a lot of you can say that. This is the only way to replace that face-to-face interaction and have that fluid personality exchange, because you can see them, they can see you. It's the closest thing to a human interaction. We've known that for years. We've been FaceTiming with our kids and maybe our grandkids for years because we didn't have another way to be by them. I'm just suggesting you do the same thing in your business. So I was talking to one of our doctor clients earlier, and I'm like, you know what? If this thing flares up and you have a lot of appointment cancellations, yeah, you can get through that. It's a medically necessary thing, and they're eventually going to come back to you. But what you can't replace without video is the thousands of times, and in their clinics, they have thousands of customers, even on a weekly basis. And by the time those 1,000 people leave and vicariously they talk about or share or just put the energy in the environment about that experience, that's like 5,000 to 10,000 people a week for them that didn't get the influence of their face-to-face experience. And I'm saying, in a lot of cases, if you're the expert, you are your brand. So don't let them lose sight of you. Don't accept the rules that are being thrown at us by media. Don't accept the run off and wait for this thing to blow over. Push a little bit of your face-to-face communication with them. Let them see you as that expert. I'm saying pull out the phone and say, you know what, somebody just asked me about this, or this is in the news, or hey, maybe you didn't know, or whatever you do that you're an expert at, that you would normally be spending the time giving that to somebody face-to-face. Use the power of video and either text them a video, record something that's a one-on-one. The service I'm using right now is called Loom. It allows you to install a little thing on your browser within a minute. You can click record, and it directly records the video to a cloud. And then as soon as that's done, you can copy that link and send it off to anybody you want. And it's like an immediate experience for video. Zoom is another great one, especially if you're doing a one-to-many presentation and you want it to be live. Skype, we've all heard of that. Same kind of thing. You do chats and have sort of a webinar thing. Google Hangouts is another one similar to that. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, it doesn't matter. It's whatever your consumers would appreciate, whatever your customers are used to. Get used to delivering them an experience face-to-face. 5, strengthen your team. So this may not seem like a marketing thing, but it actually is, because the best marketing you can possibly do in any business is to deliver your product well and efficiently and have great customer service. And in a normal business, everybody's doing their thing. We settle into our groove. We're all busy, and we don't ever take the time to sit down and communicate what we're actually doing. And I believe that's just a product of everyday business. Now, this is that springboard of limitation thing, springboard of creativity. These limitations that are on us forces us to get a little better, a little more deliberate about our process for daily communicating. If you have a team that is one person serves one function, the other serves one function, you don't always talk together. So this is a great way to, and a great time to incorporate instant messaging. We use Slack, which is an awesome program. It's free for most people. And it lets us kind of organize conversations by the projects and clients that we're working with. And you don't have that benefit of a face-to-face. It's a hard record of what's gone on. Another thing that we're doing is our team, each person every morning is sending sort of what their agenda is and what they hope to get accomplished. It's increasing both productivity, and what's super cool is accountability. So if you're not one that normally micromanages, I'm not saying that you do this, but as the leader, it's going to let you see maybe some opportunities to increase efficiency on your team, because you're going to have a direct communication from people that you really haven't had before, because you haven't had to. Remember, it's this limitation that's forcing us to be better at communication. Project management softwares are also a great thing use in this time. If you don't normally use one, here's 4 that we're familiar with. We are huge fans of Asana. It's just simple task management, but it lets you organize by project or client. Alerts, reminders, it's a way of giving action to business. So if you go long periods of time without seeing each other and everybody needs to know who's doing what, that's a great way to do it. Trello, Monday, and Teamwork are all similar softwares that you should check out. So again, we're doubling down on accountability, which is equaling a better experience for our customers, which is marketing, which is going to make us stronger when this whole thing is done. 7, email. So anybody who knows us or works with us knows that for all of the millions of dollars we spend on other marketing platforms, this is like one of the cheapest ones, and it's still the one that we talk about so often. And it's no different now. It's actually more important now. First of all, email is extremely cheap. Second of all, it goes back to that thing where normally your customers will be seeing you. You don't have that. They're locked inside. So one of the easiest, cheapest, fastest, most effective ways is to let them see frequent email communication from you. So a good way to start this for anybody, or a good thing to do with an email, is address the Corona concerns so that you can get over them. Say, you know what? We're all going through this. We're here for you. Here's a few things we're doing to make sure we can still serve you during this time. Whatever that means for your business is whatever it is. So I do recommend you having a Corona concern email. Combating Corona, or combating COVID, or whatever you want to use the subject line. And here's a couple things we've put in recent emails for our retail-based clients. We're saying, you know what? We got sanitizer at the door for every person that walks in. We're not getting through our doors without it. We're doing hourly sanitation of our bathrooms and our door handles. We've got signs in the bathroom that say, sing happy birthday twice, so that you know you've washed your hands for 20 seconds. We think this will be a thing, limiting the number of people in the store. You may not want to shut down all the way, but say, you know what? We're going to limit this to 10 or 15 people in the store at a time, and let others wait in the parking lot. Taking phone orders or taking web orders. A lot of you have great experiences and capabilities that your average customer never uses because you don't ever talk about it. So we have some clients with awesome websites, and they don't ever promote them to local people because they don't have to. And it's like, you just send an email and say, hey, did you know we have an awesome online store? You don't want to get out? That's cool. Do that. It seems simple. It seems not every day, but this situation we're in has opened a door and an opportunity for people to listen to things they wouldn't normally care about. So email them, and then aside from that, just increase your patient experience. If you're a retail or an experiential type product, have fun with them, man. They're at home bored. They're begging to hear from you. They're begging to hear about their hobbies and their interests and the companies they like doing business with. Remember, they're locked inside. It does not mean they're not thinking about what they want to do when they get outside. And so if you're the one with either your traditional media by stealing market share, or with email, you're the one that's been there this whole time while they still wanted to be doing business with you. When they come out of all this, you're going to be the one they think of first, and you're going to be the one that they start spending that money with again. And firmly believe, and we've seen this in lots of different situations, when you have the courage to go through the time and be there for them when they weren't buying, the subconscious, the familiarity, the likeness you build with you pays off big time in the end. Last thing is kind of on that note, it's don't contribute to the fear. So we all have to be safe. We all have to participate in safety, but we don't always have to participate in the fear. This is a tiny shift in your messaging I want you to consider. Everybody should address this in some way, shape, or form. But when you're putting together offers, when you're putting together calls to action, when you're changing all these things, focus on what people can do, not what they can't do. We've seen a number of people already bring in all of the doom and gloom with Corona, and they're saying things like, we know Corona is bad, we know you don't want to shake hands, we know you don't want to do all these things, and I get it. Like that's natural, and it's okay to address and dismiss. But the fact is, people already know it. They've seen it 800 times on the news today. Be the positive voice. Let the news take care of the bad news. You be the good news. And when you're positioning these new things, kind of use the assumptive that it's an everyday thing you already do. And it's like, we know you're busy. We know life gets crazy. So that's why we have curbside pickup. You didn't have to mention Corona. They'll make the connection on their own that they want to be served in that way right now. You didn't have to mention that the economy's rough. You just said, you know what? It's about you, your life. You focus on the positive. Keep that in mind when you're doing your messaging, because others will be off in the corner, tucking their tail, singing the Pippi Longstocking story. And every time you mention the bad things in vicinity of your brand, that gets carried with that. I'm not saying it has super long-term damage, but it's like it turns off the positive receptors and the positive goodwill building. You be all positive. Leave the negative stuff to what people already know. They'll make their own conclusions, and that's a way to not contribute to the fear. Guys who've never been through this before, most of us have never been through this type of a downturn. Maybe it won't turn into a downturn. I think it'll just turn into a little bit of a shift, but we don't know. What I do know for sure is that all things like this are cyclical. Human beings don't really change over time. They always do what's in their own best interest. And if your product was in their best interest 3 weeks ago, it's going to be, again, it still is right now. So what you have to do is stand tall, speak loud, embrace the opportunity to serve them in a different way. Yes, business might be down a little bit. Hopefully, you've built a strong way to absorb those cash flow concerns. But if you are the one that has the courage to be you, to be all the great things you've always been, you will come out stronger. And while everybody else has let the time pass them by and they exit the mind of the customer, you will still be there and the one that they want to do business with when everything goes back to normal. I'll even bet that you'll steal some market share when it turns the other way. If you have the courage to not let up on the gas, and if you want more ideas for that, we're here for you. 15 people here in Springfield. You may know us, you may work with us all the time, you may have never heard of us. We're focusing on how to innovate instead of how to be scared in this time. If that's something you'd be into, we're Frank and Maven, and we'd love to talk to you again. So we'll be sending some contact information and links to other webinars we're doing on this subject. One that's coming up is how to take your face-to-face business to a video business. We've had dozens of requests for that in the last few days. So we're making a course out of it. We're going to give you guys our best tools, things that we've learned from other people and things that have always worked for us. If you'll stay tuned here in a couple of days, you'll see this come out. We'll have literally a start to finish, the tools you use, how you need to set up your website, how you need to market this, how to do video during medical madness like we're in. So that's what we got for you guys today. Stay strong, keep your foot on the gas, and we'll talk to you guys soon.